kept you waiting, huh?
So let me ask you this. What makes villains interesting in today's story? Most villains in today's stories are sympathetic, they're for the greater good.
What about the greater good?
The greater good.
Type point of view. Rather through various questions, various events, morally questionable things have happened to make the villain up to this point. So ultimately you have to give a lot of time, a lot of development in order to really flesh out this villain if you're going for that kind of villain. Some of the greatest villains I could think of right off the bat that kind of fits that is Thanos from the MU.
All that for a drop of blood.
Light Yagami from Death Note.
I'll take a potato chip and eat it.
The Elusive Man from Mass Effect.
Commander Shepard.
Elusive Man. I thought we'd be meeting face to face.
Unnecessary precaution. Not unusual for people who know what you and I know.
Even Broly became a sympathetic villain in his new movie. That doesn't involve crying. And probably the last and most intense is Kreia from Nice Little Republic 2.
Yes? Have you come with questions?
Fantastic villain. She basically flips the entire Star Wars paradigm on its head.
And know that that is the true lesson of strength, to turn away from strength that is not your own.
All while making you ask really huge questions, delivering some of the most intense philosophy, and completely mind-fucking you in the process. Great character villain. But here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with having a two-dimensional character, a cardboard cutout.
Bro, what in the goddamn hell are you talking about?
Whoa, wait, don't leave. Listen, alright?
Look here! Look, listen!
There's some great villains who are evil for the sake of being evil. Take Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. He's considered one of the greatest villains.
How many Namekians does it take to screw in a light bulb? The whole race! One to screw in the light bulb, and the rest to die.
He's basically Space Hitler, even though Dragon Ball Z kind of already has that.
What? What the fuck?
This country now belongs to me!
Him and Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars, great villains. They roll in that evil shit. They love being evil. And because of that enjoyment, they're great fucking villains. They're charismatic as fuck.
We will need a lot more hemp before we're through.
There's a secret to perfecting an unsympathetic villain. If they're enjoyable enough, you don't need to feel for them.
What? I told her so. I told her so.
Do you ever, like, when we're first introduced to Frieza, he's just chilling out in his fucking bubble car, creating almost so much tension without doing a single fucking thing.
Tragedy, ain't it?
Just to flex on some village for shits and gigs. Another example is the Joker. He has lots of good quotes and embodies the perfect chaotic villain. One of my favorite quotes.
This is what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
Also, you know, on that thought of Dragon Ball Z, you know, Frieza is like everything that Zamasu fucking absolutely hated.
Wow, I never saw it from that perspective before. I now realize I should be more tolerant of lactose.
He's spoken some pretty good shit. Look, alright?
Look, listen!
To break it down, Marty style, you shouldn't mind your villain just being evil. Fiction, to an extent, is just an abstract, exaggerated recreation of the real world. I don't see any real issues with those types of characters.
But why? Brackett is no mad dog killer. He is after something.
Like General Bison from the Street Fighter movie. Charismatic as fuck.
It was 20 years ago. He gathered the few people that he could to stand against you. You and your bullies were driven back by farmers with pitchforks. You had him shot as you ran away.
I'm sorry. I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Damn! You could even consider Frieza being unsympathetic, because in the legendary fight quote, "You are the first person to hit me since my dear old parents," implying that he was kind of abused by King Cold, and maybe it just drove him to be even more of a psycho. He might have been a decent person. No, not at all. He'd still be an asshole. It's just, he wouldn't be as psychotic. Shoot, the Dragon Ball Z villains all even have their own themes, right? You got Frieza. He's the cold, tyrannical villain who knows no sympathy. You have Cell. He's the combination of everyone's strengths being used against him, and is only really evil to the extent that people keep getting in his fucking way. Boo, a being of chaos made only to destroy, used as a fucking tool by Bibbidi and Boppity. Last but not least, we got the little bitch Zamasu. Driven to evil by kind of like multiple outside sources in which he kind of disapproved of, but not really allowed to interfere. So he kind of had to watch evil happen, and he just kind of dealt with that until he just kind of snapped like a little bitch. One of the ways of creating tensions is unknown. So let's apply D&D factors to it. Let's say, you know, what kind of class they are, what factions they're from, what part of the world they're from, what kind of little things and stuff like that. Have the party work with them. Maybe they have a task that needs to be completed and they don't want to soil their hands, or rather, maybe it serves some other purpose. Maybe even have the villain, when he's working with them and stuff like that, that he has them scribed so he knows exactly what they're doing at all times. Right? Keep tabs on them. Or have the party make a deal with them, or make him very undefeatable until a MacGuffin happens. A great example of this I can think of, pretty relevant as well, is Nemesis from Resident Evil 3.
No!
The Dahaka from Prince of Persia, Warrior Within. If you've never heard of that monster, check him out. That shit is terrifying. Shit, fucking Jason Voorhees from fucking Friday the 13th, my guy. Or lady, whatever the fuck. Alien from Alien Isolation. Although, don't chain the villain to your party's asshole. They won't really like that, and it'll kind of break the illusion a little bit. Here's the thing, though, about these villains that I just listed off. Not a lot of personality.
You don't know yet.
And you know what? That's okay, because it works. It just works. But here's the thing, though. Not a lot of personality, not a lot about their backstory is known, but they are terrifying as fuck regardless.
Yeah, boy.
Because the unknown. Here's the thing, though, right? Is like, your villain doesn't have to be motherfucking Kratos, right? He doesn't have to be a jacked fucking dude that's like the most powerful swordsman and blah 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 blah. In fact, you could have your villains weak as a motherfucker. A really good villain of that example is Grimer Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings. He's charismatic as a motherfucker, hence Wormtongue for the ladies. Well, what's Grimer's ability? Well, he's why is he a threat? Well, he's a master debater, manipulates the king to throw out all of his most trusted nobles and horse. Yeah. Real bastard. You know, shit, while we're talking about villains and stuff, Monster Manual is a great example of figuring out some, like, great monster villains. Like, again, they don't have to be super duper complicated. You don't have to make an Inception here. Like I said before, asking a friend what they would do if they were a villain and stuff like that makes a pretty big, really helps you out. Fills up some of the things that you personally may not have thought of or whatnot. It can really help you think outside the box, is basically what it is. The same as motives, right? The villain should have a goal, no matter how fucking stupid it is, as long as they have a thing, right? It can be complex, whatever, but it doesn't matter. The point is, you gotta have a goal, or you gotta have some kind of motive for them, because you gotta have a step plan of how they get there in the first place, right? Take Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. Let's break that down Barney style, right? He wanted to be a god. Okay, how? Alright. By fucking the fucking planet itself so goddamn hard that it tries to heal itself. Okay, well, how? Well, he needs to do so much damage to the planet itself, right? So, what? Fireball? Fucking firebolt? No. Shit. How about meteor swarming the fucking planet? Or Knights of the Round with Quattro Magic maxed out. But yeah, no, he's gonna meteor swarm it and nuke it from fucking orbit.
It's the only way to be sure.
And then basically he's going to be at the impact site, and then when the life stream, which is like the life of the planet or whatever hippie nonsense that this is, he's going to be there to suck up all that healing juice.
Look at all that juice.
All that juice. And he becomes Bizarro Superman or some shit. How does he do this? Well, he manipulates clones, and that's the short story of it. Look, alright, dude, there's already enough games and lore surrounding Cloud's fucking sword, okay? I don't feel like being here for an hour. Something that all villains kind of have in common across ages, comic books and movies, is that the villains must have more power than the protagonists. Shocking, I know. Now, here's the thing. What I mean by that is now, power doesn't have to mean I bigger bulk get small protect. I smash. It could be the villain is very suave, very Machiavellian. Again, bring up the Joker from The Dark Knight.
And here we go.
He has no superpowers in smashing the small boys. However, he is clever and manipulative individual. He's always 10 steps ahead of our Cape billionaire with the Dog the Bounty Hunter complex. And just because you give your villain a powerful, limitless army or godlike powers doesn't make them interesting. Let alone your players will get invested. I digress. Anyways, it doesn't make them a threat. However, if you give your villains powers and you're very creative about it, your players will have a lot more fun. And you too. Here's the thing though, is like how it opens up is maybe it gives them insights, you know, maybe their powers kind of showcase, you know, why it brought them to that point. If your villain's motives don't make sense, the choices and the things that kind of brought them up to that point, it's gonna fall flat when you do reveal it. You could have shit tons of backstory and all this, that, and the other thing, and you could put all this effort, and it won't mean jack shit unless your players are invested in it.
That's right! That's right!
A low-key great example of Marvel villain is Loki. He wanted nothing more than his daddy dearest love, right? And to basically accept Daddy didn't love me! He didn't want power, although he really fucking didn't like Thor, and rightly so from his perspective. In fact, to bring up the Joker once again, another really good quote is,
all it takes is one bad day.
What's the Joker's motives? Well, he wanted Batman and Gotham to realize that everyone is crazy by corrupting the beacon of hope that is the Batman. The city destroyed itself was just kind of collateral damage, if that made sense. It's more of like a stepping stone, not the ultimate goal. How you introduce the villain can tell the party loads of information about what their villain is like, right? By proxy, I always say that, again, a really good plot hook is having the party work with the villain. To take this quote from, I don't remember who, dealing with the naughty problems of exposition. So some writers get intimidated. Some writers that they try to get out of the way as soon as possible. The best thing to do, right, is to let the info just trickle in, right? Is when you are writing your villain, is you need to ask the question, if you remove your villain from the story and nothing happens, should you keep your villain?
I don't want lunch. I want breakfast.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm really sorry.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm really sorry, too.
Get a gun!
Let's get organized. Calm down. Just calm down, everybody. Just sit down. Sit down over there. Hey. Mister. Where are you going? No. You sit down there and you finish your lunch. Come on. Everybody just relax and take it easy. Come on. Why don't you eat your lunch, please? Eat your lunch. You all need your vitamins A's and B's and... No, it's an accident! It's an accident! It was an accident! The trigger, it's sensitive. It's okay. It's all right. It's a sensitive trigger.